So welcome everyone to the Castle Steps drawing. This is sponsored by Warminster Township Library. My name is Anita Thompson, for those that don't know me, so welcome. As I mentioned in the chat, you're going to need a pencil with an eraser, 2 black markers, a very fine tipped one. Putting that kind of up to, let me see if I can put that up to the camera without. There we go. And then a regular kind of Sharpie marker. And if you have any questions, you can put those in the chat. And then the last is a white pen, white marker. If you don't have any of these, you could use a black and a white colored pencil. This is on brown paper. If you don't have brown paper, you can use another toned paper, whatever you have. There's gray. You could also probably use brown construction paper as well. Oh, let Allison in. Okay. And so we are going to get started. So we are going to be holding it, the paper, pretty much the correct way. We're not doing landscape, we're doing portrait. And let me just make sure that I am in the screen here, and I am. Okay. So we're going to talk a little bit first about perspective. And so we are going to be using a lot of perspective in this drawing. Obviously, we're going to be using pencil first. I'm going to take off some of the light here so you can see a little better. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at the overall shape, even with this. So with a lot of the classes I teach, I'm always talking about looking at the bigger shapes first, seeing if you can make a shape out of it, like a circle, a square, a rectangle, what have you. And so, or some kind of shape. So with this, what we're going to look at is we're going to look at the overall shape here first. So we're going to kind of look at, it's kind of pointy up here. And the way our steps go, so we have the bottom part that's going to go straight across. And then we have the steps that are coming towards us. And the shape is kind of, what am I trying to say? It's not a hexagon. I guess it's kind of like triangular with the top cut off. I don't know which shape that would be. And this is going to get wider as it comes toward us, as is the steps. So they're going to get wider as they come towards us because of the way that we are positioned in the drawing. So with that, let's get started. And I was mentioning earlier when a few people had already come on, I've hurt my elbow, so I'm a little bit slower. So maybe that'll be a good thing for all of you. So let's get started here. So we're going to start first, obviously, with our pencil. You want to make sure that you're able to see it when you're using the pencil. Mine might be a little darker since I'm not really sure that the pencil will show up as well on Zoom. I tried it earlier and I had to go a little bit darker, which I think will be okay. But basically, let's get started, and we're going to start at the top, kind of the top and in the middle of the paper. Let me just make sure that I've got everything on screen, and I do. Okay, so getting started at the top of the paper, we are going to go down probably about 1.5 inches, and we're going to start up here with the circular area of the architecture. The other thing that I want to mention is that this drawing is a little bit further to the right, and then our steps angle and come down towards the bottom left corner. So just keeping that in mind. So this part of the drawing, if you take a look at the opposite space, you can see that it is not in the middle of the paper. It is over toward the right. But we still have another part of the castle wall over here. Okay, so let's get started. Let's actually get started. I decided let's change and we're going to start right here. And so for now, we're going to make a straightish line about halfway down your paper. So take a look to see what's halfway. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a white colored pencil so that you are able to see it. So just know that the white colored pencil, or I might even use a black colored pencil. I think I'm going to use black. Know that that is supposed to be pencil. Okay, so excuse me while I just sharpen my black pencil here. Actually, go. Oh, sorry, my pencil just broke off. Let me grab another one. Okay. Thank you for being patient. All right, so getting started here. This is where our door is going to be. And then we're going to make a curve for that door. So we're going to make what's going to look like sort of a circular, but kind of very similar to a dome. So this is the inside where the door is. And that is our first step so far. And we're going to make everything around this. So we have the dome inside. Inside is our door. Now we're going to do a little bit of perspective here. And so we're going to come down to the left bottom part of that dome. And you're going to make a line that goes like this. And I'm going to go even closer so that you're able to see this. Now, once you do that, you're also going to then make a line, a straight line. This is going to serve as our brick that's going to be coming out. Now, there's a point that you've just made, and that point is going to serve as the inside of the brick. And so you're going to go up, and then when you're coming to the dome area, you're going to turn like this. This is perspective on the inside of the door. So the brick facade is this part, and this is the shape that it makes. So a reminder that you want to make sure that you are going light enough so that you can erase later on, because you're going to be doing a lot of erasing with this drawing. Because what we do is just like any other drawing, we draw the fundamentals and then we draw on top of the fundamentals in order to get the details. I'm just going to move my page a little bit, or my camera just a little bit. Okay. Now we're going to come out here and we're going to draw the outside brick for the door. So we're going to start here. And I may go faster than you at first, but I will slow down. So we're going to go up straight. But then when we get to about here, we're going to curve and follow the shape. Oops, actually that's a little bit too high. Basically, we curve and we want this line or curve to be very close to the door because that is the outside border of the brick. So you may have to adjust the shape a bit. And then you're going to come down almost like you're making a rainbow. And for now, we'll cap it off like that. And you now have the door and the start of the brick. Okay. We're also going to draw the shape above that is in between. And then we have the shadow shape up here. So we're going to start here at the edge again of our rainbow shape. And we're going to go upwards and come to a point. And we're going to repeat that for the other side, but it's going to be a little bit shorter on the right side. So upwards, come to a bit of a point. Follow the same thing, and what you want to happen is for that line to end right here. So we're going to go slow with the fundamentals. Again, you may have to be doing some adjusting afterward, but that's why we do it in pencil first. Grab one of my thicker pencils here. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to come again outside of this space. And we are going to now do a little bit of filling in with our pencil. So first, we've created this part here. We're going to come over here and we're going to create the other brick area that's going to be happening. So, but before we do that, we're going to be making the brick area outside. And so we're going to come over here and we're going to take our pencil and we're going to go up a little bit and then come over here because we're going to be making a straight line like so. And from that straight line, we're going to make what's going to look a little bit like a brick to the left side of that straight line. Now, once we do that, we are going to make a brick side, a kind of like a column that's going to go underneath this brick, and it's going to look like this. So it looks like a column going down. We're not going to finish it off yet. We're going to come up here and make another straight line. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come down here. And we're going to move on over to the bottom. And you are going to finish off by making a straight line, but it's going to curve a little bit like this. There's going to be a little bit of a line that goes like that, and you're going to leave a space. All right, and then we're going to come right back over to the left side here. And we're going to create another shape that's going to mimic this one, starting right here. And so you're going to curve, go up again, and then you're going to do the same thing on the other side, but you're going to end about right here with a shape that is curving and then goes inward. So let me make that a little bit more, a little bit darker there. And we're going to make a shape, a round circle at the top. That's going to be a round stone part of the structure. You want to make it big enough so that you can then recreate one more shape, that this is going to be the other brick dome area right above. So I went to the left and did it, and then I'm going to go to the right, but not finish off the line on the right. Like, I'm not going to attach it to anything right now. So there's starting to be some perspective here, even if you can't see it right now. We are going to come over here and make a line going straight down, and again, not connecting it. I'm going to make this a little darker. Okay, so we have the basics right now. You're probably thinking it doesn't feel like it, but we do. So now we're going to start on the overall shape of the steps. So remember, we're going to go back and we're going to add the details, but for now, we want to get the basic structure of everything. So we're going to start first over here with the outside brick wall. So this is the brick wall that holds the stairs. So we have some perspective happening. So again, we're going to start right over here and we're going to go outward towards the left side of our paper. And for now, it's going to be very straight. It's going to be a very straight line. All of these are. But we're going to go back and we're going to make the lines more wiggly to resemble stone and brick. Now, the next shape we're going to do is, again, we're going to create a line that is right next to it or following the same way. Now it's a little bit shorter. And then we are going to now create, going over to the right-hand side. And we created this one line here, but we're going to create one more, starting about right here. And it's going to be a straight line for now, going down to about here. We're going to break up that line and go a little bit upward above our dome shape. We are now going to be drawing the perspective on the wall, or for the wall on the right side. Just adjusting my camera a little more here. Excuse my fussing here. Okay. So we have that line. We're now going to come from the point of this, and we're going to go outward just a little bit, going towards the right corner, the bottom right corner of our paper. But it's going to kind of just go like this. So it's not quite a straight line, but it is slightly bent. If I put my pencil next to it that's straight, you can see that. And again, we don't finish it off on anything for right now. And now we're going to start our steps. And that's going to start right here where the bottom of this line is. And for now, we're going to make a line that goes out and it's slanted. And this is a very light line because we're going to be adjusting it. And then for right over here, we're going to make a line for now that's going to follow this line as well. So it's going to go out like this. And again, this is just a line for now so that we are able to create the steps in between the two lines that we just created. Okay, so our steps are going to look a bit like this. So just to give you some literally perspective, our steps are going to start off a little bit smaller and then get, as you can see, it gets gradually wider as it comes towards us. How we do that, it seems like an illusion. We're going to start off first with making sort of, what am I trying to say? Kind of a jagged line on this side. So let's start off here. And so basically, with this line, we're going to go up and down like this. So you're going against, or I should say on top of that line, that straight line that you just did. And when we come here, you're going to stay straight. So I'm going to erase the straight line so that you can see that basically we're trying to create the pointiness of the steps, but we're following that straight line until we get to the end here and we keep it straight for now. Now what you're going to do for now is at each point, you're going to go across the way and you're not going to finish going all the way across to this line because we're going to be having, this is going to be, plants and foliage that is happening. But you're going to go straight across in each part that is bending, like so. And just take your time. So it should look kind of like a scalloped edge on the left side here. But on the right, you're not touching anything. As far as, you're not extending those lines out to the edge of this line. You're leaving it sort of undone. When you're done with that, you can go back to the scalloped edge on the left and erase the straight line of the angle of the steps that we had so that we could make sure that we did that. I don't know what to call it, if you call it scalloping. Oh, recording in progress. Back to. Oops. Okay. Just going to give everybody a little bit of time before we move on to the next the next step. Literally. Oh, Michael, that looks gorgeous. Oh my gosh. Incredible. You've got it.
I love the perspective on this one.
Oh, thank you. I hope I didn't mess it up too much. I'm not 100% with perspective, but I think it looks sort of believable. In the fall, I'm probably going to introduce more of these. Um, I think, we haven't really delved into architecture, and I know I've talked about it last year, and I thought this would kind of be a good one to start with, even though it's a difficult one. I feel like if you can do this one, any other ones that I'm going to kind of throw in are going to be less perspective, if that makes sense. I use a lot of my 12-year-old niece is very much into photography, and she sends me pictures that she thinks that would be really neat to teach. I've been holding on to this one for a while, but I thought it might be interesting to do. Okay, so moving on. So basically what you're now going to do is you're going to start blacking in using just your pencil, the space in between the steps. So this space though is the part, let me kind of do this for you first. So basically what we're doing, if these are two steps, this is the part that you see in front of you, and this is as well. And so if you were to keep going, it's almost like, kind of reminds me of an accordion, right? If you were like folding paper. This is basically what we're doing. So you can see that the top steps, or these parts, are the parts of the step that you step on, right? And this is the part that's making it go down. And so that's what we're doing here, but it's at an angle. I don't know if that's helpful for you, but so basically, and with this, if you want, you can kind of make it a little bit straight on this side, but kind of wiggle that line, because what you may have to do when you go back is you may have to adjust a bit of the angle. The other thing is we're going to be throwing in some foliage over here that's going to be covering a little bit of that portion of the step. But for now, to make it a little more simpler, or to make it a little bit better for you, and you may have to add another line to each of the lines that you just created. I just added one here. It's usually at the part where the point is. So as you go, stay on the left side and color in underneath. Like I said, you will have to add another line in. And then slightly shade underneath. And again, you don't want to shade too dark. The reason that we're shading is so that you know the difference between where the step is and where the underneath is. So I'm going to keep going here. And remember, so what I'm doing is I'm kind of adding another section, and it's going to get colored in a little more or a little wider as we're going down. If you get confused, stay on the left side and you can redraw your steps with the pointed part. And then you're going to leave the bottom part alone for now, because we're going to draw the rest of the step in there that is broken or crumbling. The other thing is up here, we're going to be erasing a little bit in order to then add some more broken stones and also some plant life that is growing in between the steps. Again, this doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to look exactly like mine. We just want it to look like castle steps with some overgrowth. Okay. So we are going to draw the last part here, down here. And we're going to start off with the bottom part here because we're going to make this part of the step crumbling. And so we're going to start off with a line that's going like this because the part over here, this is the crumbling part of the step. And then we're going to draw in between there. Or I should say at the bottom of it. So you can draw it and kind of color it in. Now there are two pieces of that step that is crumbling. There's one here that has broken off right next to this area. And you're going to create what's going to look a bit like a rectangle, like this. And it's in perspective. So think of almost like a flattened box, like a pizza box or something. And for now, if you want, you can even, make that a little bit darker. Remembering that we're going to go back, we're going to do some erasing and reconfiguring a little of that shape to make it look like stone. we're going to add another piece of the broken step over here. And so this is going to be a little more wiggly at the top. And again, this is also in perspective. So here is the top part, sort of the top shape of it. And then it's in perspective again. So that is another side of it. A side that has broken. And so again, you fill it in. And again, you can just fill it in very lightly. I'm doing it darker so that you can see. But if you take a look, you now have basic castle steps in perspective.
Go Anita.
Go Michael and go everybody else. Thank you for hanging in there so far. I hope I haven't broken anybody's brains. Just expanded them. I'm going to let everybody catch up, and we're going to start with, after this, we're going to start with adding the details. So we're going to start first back to our door, and actually on this part of it, the outside part of the door. And so we're going to start right over here to the left, and we're going to make a straight line on this side. And then over here, your line is going to slightly, very slightly go down. And all of a sudden, that should look like you just created perspective for the inside part of the dome. So again, I went here, went straight, continued that line, but went slightly down. And we're going to create part of sort of like a border that's going to look like this and get a little bit bigger on the side here. Okay, now that we have that, we're going to make the brickwork. And so we're going to go back to this part, and we're going to start making the brick lines. And I like to make them so that I don't finish the line. And then we're going to do the same with the other side, but we're going to bend. Oops, just a sec. We're going to bend those bricks. ever so slightly. And guess what? We're going to go right across the way. And we're going to do the same thing. You're going to kind of match it up with that side. And then you're going to make some straight lines for the bricks. And then we have to start going around this part and make the bricks. And it's going to look like this. Your lines are going to start kind of curving around as it follows this part of the brickwork. After you've done that, we're going to come inside here and in this part here, and we're just going to very lightly shade in this part. Just for now, just so that we can now tell that that is underneath the dome. That's a shadow on the other part of the brick. And then we're going to create the door. And we're going to come about right here, and we're going to start making lines like a castle door. Now, the reason you can't see the lines up here at the top are because they're covered in shadow. Let's make one more up here. And with castle doors, this is a wooden door. We're going to make circles, wooden circles on each section of the squares, one at the top and one at the bottom. Left a few very lightly on the right side. Now we are going to come over here to this brick part. This is also brick. We're going to come about where the part of the section of the outside part of the door is curving, and we're going to make a straight line on this part. And then the other part, we're going to slightly bend downward with our line. So again, straight across and then slightly bend. And we're going to do that going all the way down. This is the other brick. So that's this whole section here. And then we're going to come up here and we're going to make brick that is curving around here as well. We're going to be making it pretty openly spaced, widely spaced. And we're going to follow that over on the right side as well. And then we're going to go inside this part and we're going to shade that whole section. Again, you can do it very lightly since we're going to be going back with our pen. But we now want to make sure that we know that is also right underneath of the structure. It is shaded. We'll be shading this part later on. But we want to finish up with the intricate details over here. And so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to be adding a straight line right here. So basically, this door has, it's like a wooden door with square sections. So above this, we start to create what's going to look like a square there. And then we have what looks like a framed section, like a framed rectangle with a small rectangle in between. And it literally looks like it's framed like so. It's the wooden part of the door that's embellished. And we also have, this is all wood, and we also have kind of a diamond shape on top. And then we're going to have wood panels across. Like this, almost like little window panes. And we only see portions of those right above the dome. And now we're going to come back over here down toward the left. And we're going to make this look like brick. But we're going to be curving our lines. So it's going to look a bit like this until we can't go anymore. And we're going to come down to the right side and we're going to create brick on this right side of our page. But first, we're going to be making lines that are going to be outward like this, and we'll fill in with the bricks in between. So basically, these are the parts that are, let's see. So the straight parts are the parts that are in between the bricks. And you can make them a little bit curvy after you're done. But first, let's just worry about getting the bricks in. As it goes toward our page on the right side, down the right side. And then we're going to do the same on the left. And at the top. So we're going to start off first at the top here. And we're going to make the lines straight, but kind of, see that I'm kind of making them wavy. And then on top, I like to create some separate bricks like that. And then we're going to kind of skip some space down here. And we're going to make some lines that look like we're making more brickwork, suggestion of brickwork. And so, making lines going straight across and then adding some more that look like the separations of the brick. Now we're going to be adding plants on the sides of these and leaves and foliage, but I like to do that in pen. So we're going to leave this blank for now. And we're going to come up here to this corner and make some more another line for some bricks. And then we are finally ready to actually start using our black pen, because this is where we add the really fun details in. And we want this to be very loose, um, which is why we go straight to our pen. And we're going to start off first with the thin pen. And so I'm going to adjust my camera so that it's close. We're going to start first with the door, just like we did before, but we're going to start with this part of the door. And so at this point, we are now outlining this part of the door. Okay, Allison, wonderful. Thank you so much for coming. I know this is a longer one for sure. So we're going to outline that door, and then we're going to start outlining and making our lines imperfect, very wiggly at this point. So we're going over our previous lines and we're making them so that they are imperfect, except when we get to the circles here, we're going to fill them in only part of the way to make it look like they are in shadow. I'm going to go really close now on each section. So there is the detail of sort of the wooden posts that are inside on each section of the door. We're going to start outlining just about everything. And so here is what we're going to do. We're going to, again, you want to start to wiggle your lines, because this is stonework, brickwork, and it's not perfect. It's old. And so we're going to start off right underneath, and we're going to wiggle that line a little bit. And we're going to wiggle this one. So again, you're following the line, but you're making it a little wiggly. And then as far as the brick work, each section, you're going to kind of round off the corners, because what that's going to do is create a shadow. So see, I'm kind of going around and rounding off the corners inside, and you can go back and kind of fill in between, and it's all of a sudden it now is looking more like stone. And you're going to do that around this whole section. And it's going to be a little bit straighter going down here. But that's the first part. Now it's really finishing up with our details. So we're going to come over here. Again, making it a little wiggly. And for this one, what I like to do with the brickwork is not complete all the lines going across. This is my original. I actually couldn't find my original, so this is a little different. Yes. I was just answering Michael. Whenever I redo it, it's always slightly different. But you can still use both if you're trying to finish up. Now we're going to come here on the right side, and we're also going to finish these stones here. And we're now going to start with the steps, and then we'll work our way around the outside area. So if you notice the top part of the steps, there is a lot of cracking. And so we're going to be drawing over what we've drawn here at the top. But we're using the steps, the top part of the steps, as a guide. And I'll show you how that's going to happen. So we're going to leave right up to here. We're going to start about right here, maybe the second or third step. And you're going to color that in, the dark part of it. We're going to leave the top part alone. And so you're going to redraw these steps in the middle. But you're going to start making some of the lines a bit wiggly, mostly towards the dark part of the stairs. When you're coming toward the edge here, with the black part, you're going to start to make the edge like this. Except we're doing a little bit different here as we get towards the bottom. So this is where we start to make it a little more of the details. If you noticed, I skipped this step so far in the middle. And now remember here with the stone part on the right, we're going to add some more kind of broken areas over there. Oops. Let me adjust this a little more. And then even in this part that we started, we're going to add a little bit more of some broken area. Now we're going to leave that alone. We're not going to do any filling in yet. And we're going to come over here on the left, and we're going to now start to fill in, or I should say, start to go over the lines of the brick here, but we're going to make it look a little more bubbly, like so. And then on the left side here, starting here on the bottom, we're going to start to color in a little bit of the side. It's going to look really scratchy. But we'll leave a little bit of space here in between the steps. We're also going to now come over here on the left side and copy over the bricks again, making them slightly, curved at the edges like we did before. We're going to continue upward, and we're going to do the same thing this section, again making the bricks a little more rounded at the corners. And remember the circle in the middle, but it's stone, and so we're going to shade it a little to the left. And now on the right side, before we complete any of this stonework, we're going to be adding in some foliage. We're also going to outline the shading. And for a second, we're going to put down our lightly shaded pen and pick up our marker. And you're going to color that in till about right there. On that side, and the same on the other side. And then you're going to put your thick black marker down and pick up your thinner one. We're going to come over here on the right side, and we've already made a line down here, but we're going to go over it and we're going to kind of make it just a little bit bumpy. Like so. Let me stop right here. And we're going to curve in that bottom part of the line. And then we're going to make some brick. Really quick suggestions of some brickwork. And we're going to follow this line down until we come here and make a curve. And we have a bit of this section to create, but we're going to make it the shape of, instead of brickwork, we're adding overgrown pieces of foliage in that shape. And so we're making it all down that part. Until we get here to the bottom of where the stone is. And we start to do some scribble work to make it look like stone on the bottom part as well. So we've kind of moved to the bottom. Adjusting my camera here. And we're gonna hop on over to the left. Remember how we left this part blank? We're gonna start adding some leaves here on the side. before we go up and finish off the brickwork. So we're adding kind of overgrown leaves, things kind of hanging off of the brick here. Here on the left side. And then we're going to go back after you've made those. We're going to go back and draw over the brick, the lines that we created for the brick. Moving upward to the top. A little closer here. We're going to add some on the right side before we finish off the brick that's going towards us on the right. We're going to proceed to the right side and again start to fill in the brick that we created, but using our black pen, and again making the corners a bit curvy. You're going to follow that all the way down. Sometimes I add some more bricks because they're a little too big. Or I've made them a little too big. Like in this case, I was kind of rushing a little bit. So I'm going to make some a little bit smaller.
Another brick in the wall.
Another brick in the wall, Michael. I love it. Perfect. And you can add some shading on the side. I love it. By going up against it. Like so. But now we're really going to start with the finishing of the shading. Using both this and then using the finer or the thicker marker, I should say. And so we're going to come back to the brick on the left, the wall part, and we're going to start adding some random shadings and lines to show that some of these have some shading on them. So creating lines going up and down and a little to the side on the brick work. And then especially in between the plants as we get closer to this side here, we're going to make some very intense shading, kind of scribbling as we go straight down on this side. And we're going to go on each of these bricks as well. And we're going to start here, and on each section of these bricks in the middle, we're going to make it a little bit darker so that it looks like it would be the shading in between the bricks. But then when we get to the bricks up here, we add maybe a few lines of shading. Until we get to the bigger brick right before this section here, this big brick right here. And we're going to start making much more lines on this side of the brick because it's facing the inside of your stonework. We're also going to come here in the middle and start to outline And in between, we will add lines for shading. And so the lines of shading you want on the panels. That's indicated by just adding maybe 3 or 4 lines of shading. Which is going to lead us to the door. And so again, each section on the door, I like to go in the corners and make them just a little bit rounded with shading. And it doesn't have to be all the doors or all of the kind of squares, but adding a little bit of shading to the corners and then some slight shaded lines, especially on the right side. Until we get up to the top where we're really going to add shading using lines that are going to the side. So this is called hatching. And then we fill it in more at the top because it's darker. This is shading, really, as if you were taking your pencil and just shading in the darker part. And then with the rest of it, we add line work because it will look like it's slightly less dark. And you definitely want to outline around the door, making it a little darker. And then around each of the stonework around the door, adding some lines for shading. There should be more shading on the inside brickwork because it's closest to the inside of the door. And that's going to lead us to the top portion of the steps where we're going to go over it using the black because we're going to make the steps very kind of broken by creating lines like this. Still following the shape of those original steps. But almost making it cobblestone-like. And we're adding at the same time some it's kind of some um, plants that have grown over and dirt, as well is on the right side before we start coloring in the rest of the steps. Your hands are probably going to get pretty dirty. Um, Definitely from leaning on the pencil work. I'm trying not to itch my face. We're also going to come here on the side of the stones and start adding some shading on the sides using some line work and going on each stone. Doesn't have to be every one, but closer to the edge here, or I should say the line, and adding some shading, especially against kind of the wall area, like this part. So I'm going down and just adding some darkening in between the stonework, and then a little bit on the left side of each stonework, or I should say each individual kind of brick. And that's going to give it some more perspective. We're going to add some scribble work here on the bricks on the left here. And we're going to skip the steps for now and come down here and start to fill in the two pieces of stonework that have broken. And the first step is to color in the black, which is the shaded part of the two stones. And it doesn't have to be completely black. It can be sort of scratchy black. And you want to make some imperfection lines on the rest of the stones as well, the two stones here. Oh, Michael, that looks incredible. Oh my gosh. What detail. I am so impressed.
It's all you.
Oh, I wouldn't say that. You did it. It's incredible. Oh, Tony fell off. There we go. Hey, Tony. Okay. So we come down here at the bottom and we're making the stonework with the shading. And then we're finally going to go back with the marker on the other steps. And then we finish off with some additions with the white pen. So we are getting there. This was a long one. Oh, Michael, that looks awesome. Wow, you added the white pen. That looks amazing. You are fast too. So good.
Love the perspective. I love everything kind of going to a center point in the distance.
Yeah, it might be a little wonky, but at least the way I redrew the picture, but I think it works.
You did one about a year ago that had three plants, like in a window with some curtains.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that also had kind of some stones around the outside of the window, the windowsill.
Yes. I'm curious if you guys like this. I feel like you like this. I think other people have said they wanted more kind of architecture. Okay, we are steaming ahead. We are in the finishing phase, the last steps. Pun intended. I couldn't help myself.
No, no, you can't.
So you're going to pick up your marker and we're going to darken some parts. For instance, a little bit here on the left. We're going to add just a little bit darker where our plants and our foliage are. And right underneath, it's against our steps. The next part is going to be right around where our dome covering is, but it's on the door. We're now going to finally come to our steps. Now, to make these look like they're sort of uneven, we're not going to bring that black all the way across all the time, but kind of pushing it along like so. And we leave the right side every time that we create the shading. We leave it just a little bit of a spot that is not finished. And you're going to start to do that for the rest of these. I like to kind of push my marker along using strokes to kind of fill in. Now on this one step, we kind of separate a little bit and leave a little bit undone. So we're doing kind of a scribble, and then we get a little darker in some spots. This one in the middle. And you see, it makes it look like the light is hitting certain parts of the steps. And when you're ready, your final part is adding some scribbling of white on a lot of spots. You don't have to be very particular about where you add the white, but I like to add the white parts to the brickwork. Usually the top part of the brickwork. And you can do scribbles. This is just to highlight, add a little bit of some white. Although I do like to add that to the brickwork on either side in sort of a straight line. Oh, wow, Michael, that looks incredible. It's a very loose drawing. And then obviously each of the steps, but on the part that you step on. Here again, add your own flair. This does not look like my original as much. Yours is not going to look exactly like mine, but that's the beauty of it. This is some very loose artwork. My husband and I are going to Italy in October, and I'm very inspired right now by architecture. Wow, Michael, that looks incredible.
Tuscany? Where are we headed?
So we are headed, let's see. So my husband Chris, you know Chris. So he has planned the entire trip. So we're going to be there for 11 days. I've never been out of the country, so this is big for me. I'm excited. We're going to Tuscany, Rome. Let me see. Cinque de, oh my gosh, I can't think. Cinque de Terre. I'm going to have to like figure it out and put it in the newsletter. So Rome, Tuscany, Florence, Cinque Terre. Oh my gosh, I'm butchering this. I'm sure I'm butchering this town. I think those are the places we're going. There might be one more. With that? But yes, I'm very inspired right now by architecture. Even though it's like 6 months away.
Charlie's coming in sideways.
Yes. It's kind of fun.
You actually see what I'm doing?
No, we can kind of see. It's almost like the screen is split. Oh, kind of see a little of it. It's strange because yeah, it's like the bottom part of your screen is on the left and you are on the left, but you are sideways.
Oh, that's my brain.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's the way my brain works.
There we go.
Let's see if I can figure out how to do that. We had that the last time, and I left and I came.
Oh. Well, I think I'm going to stop the video. And I'm going to remove my spotlight. Oh my gosh, look at these. Wow. So, and if you all want to unmute, you're welcome to unmute. Oh my gosh, Helen, that looks amazing.
I have to buy the white and do it. I'm going to try to buy what you recommended.
Why can I
The white
not?
pencil didn't show up.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like crystals. Crystals is nice.
Wow, crystal, beautiful.
I can't see anybody. Everybody.
Oh my gosh.
How do I get it? There it is.
Oh, so you want to get off of speaker view and go, can you go to gallery? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. Look at
Go,
these.
Joanne.
Thank you.
Wow. It's a lot of work, right? Oh,
Yes.
wow.
Lots of work.
Danielle's really nice. That's really good.
Yeah, beautiful.
Oh,
Yeah.
thanks.
You
Oh my
should have been
God.
sitting here next to her.
Yeah, I don't like it at all. I think the bricks on the one side are just totally
The smile on my face is
bonkers.
painted.
But
Wow.
thank you.
Oh my gosh. These look incredible. Well, you can always, this is so funny. You can always redo it over.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. Once was enough.
Yeah, exactly. This was
This
a
is
tough one.
interesting. It is interesting.
Well, thanks very much for a challenging picture. I really enjoyed it. I think it's a reach and really, really time well spent. So thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Appreciate the positivity.
Oh,
Yeah. I
And
didn't get
yeah, take a picture, send it in. I just put my email in the chat. If anybody doesn't have it, would love to see it. And they won't make it in the newsletter tomorrow, but they'll make it in the newsletter for next week. So if you want, you can still work on it.
There you go. I don't think I'll ever be done.
such is life.
Exactly.
Oh, it gets done.
Exactly.
It does get done.
Oh, thank you so
Yes.
much, everyone.
Thank you, Anita.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good night, guys.
Good
Good
night, everybody.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Oh, I think Charlie's just coming in. Thank you. Have a great
Great.
night. Oh, let's see. Charlie, did you come in? Oh, I don't know. Oh, I saw him.
Let's see. I
Oh,
need to do a little
hold
bit
on.
more.
Two people. Oh. Oh, I have Elizabeth and Charlie.
Huh.
Hi, Elizabeth. We just ended, but I can send you the recording. Hey, Charlie. All right, will do, Elizabeth. Let me write you down. And Charlie, I can send you the recording too. I know I have Elizabeth's email. I don't have yours, but I can, since you registered, you will receive the recording as long as you registered. Oh, that's okay, Elizabeth. I understand. Time gets away from me too. As long as you registered, you'll receive the recording from the librarian. Who, like I said, she's out sick, but I know she'll be back at some point this week. But thank you so much, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Wash your hands.
Get a drink.
Get a drink, exactly.
Get a real drink.
Get a real. Poor Danielle, I just drove her to drink.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. And that's not easy to do.
Oh, yes, it is. No, I'm sorry. She drives you to drink.
I don't drink, so.
No, she's too busy getting
my
everybody
gosh.
else crazy.
Oh boy. Oh,
Good
I love
night.
you guys.
Have a good one.
Good night. You
Good
too.
night.
Good night, everybody.
Bye-bye. Nighty
Bye.
night, everyone.
Nighty night.
Oh, I can't get off.